Hey everybody, welcome to this video. We are going to build up a Genie space and experience a couple of the key features of Genie, and we're going to do it all in just about 10 minutes. So let's jump straight into the data we're going to be playing with. So anybody who has an email address can create a free Databricks account. That's what I'm using. This is the free account. I pay nothing for this, and you won't either. You don't need a credit card or anything. You can get the free account. With every Databricks workspace, you'll have access to the same data we're playing with here. So TPCH is some kind of retail data. I can see we have orders data, and if we look at a sample of this, we can get an idea of what we're working with. There are different orders. Each order has a customer. There's a price related to the order. There's a date, etc. There's also something nice about this data set is we can play around with deeper granularity. So here we can see the same order key repeated 3 times. So each one of these 3 rows would be speaking to a specific component of that order. So this is going to be interesting because we can see how does Genie out of the box handle joining data sources. And instead of just talking about it, let's create the Genie space. So we're going to go to the Genie tab of our Databricks environment and then click New. And I'm going to search for that samples.tpch, where we can see the same tables that we were just looking at in our catalog. Let's connect to orders as a start. And let's just ask Genie something really high level, like what was my revenue per month? And something interesting about this question is there is no column in the data called revenue, and month is kind of ambiguous, like month of what date. This is something that already might trip up some systems, or even an analyst. If you were to ask them, they might say, hey, I'm going to have to make some assumptions here. And Genie is going to make some assumptions for us. So this is where, as soon as you start connecting your data into Genie, you do want to be thinking about what is it okay for Genie to make assumptions about and what is it not okay. And you can really quickly identify what kinds of assumptions it's making by inspecting the code. Like here we can see that the date is mapped to order date, the revenue is being sourced from the total price. And if this is the correct thing, we can give Genie feedback and say, hey, you got this right. Or no, you didn't get this right, and here's how to fix it. So really, in real time, as you interact with Genie, it can learn from the experience. It can learn from you telling it if it's doing things right or wrong. And also, you have instructions that you can tell Genie. So we can provide some natural language instruction. Let's do that. Maybe we have fiscal calendars in our business that like the month starts on the 15th of the month instead of the 1st. So we can provide some kind of tricky fiscal logic like that here in the general instructions. But you can also do things like define joins and KPIs. So like maybe you have some measures and dimensions that you want to define for Genie, as well as example SQL queries. So if you have a pretty complex logic and you want, anytime somebody asks a question to Genie about return rates, you want to have a specific type of logic that's calculated, you could provide sample queries to prime that behavior. So let's go back to Genie, see what happened after I said that it had done this correctly. Looks like my fake sample data is very consistent. We have similar revenue every month. And then we drop off a cliff in 1998. So this data is nice and old. Our most recent data is from 1998. Let's look at what Genie came up with as learnings from being told that it answered this correctly. And Genie's just surfacing some recommendations of, hey, you asked for this data per month and you said that I got it right. If you want, I can save this as a dimension so that in the future, when you reference month in your question, I'll more consistently map it to this definition. I'm not going to save any of these for now. I'll just say cancel, and let's continue to ask Genie something. So something that people would be concerned about with LLMs would be with connecting your data to LLMs specifically is hallucinations. So let's ask Genie a question about countries, because in our data for orders, there's no information here about countries. So let's see if Genie hallucinates or if it's going to be straight up with us and tell us that it doesn't have the information. So show me my top 10 countries by revenue. So Genie says there is no country information available, so please clarify or provide that data. So let's actually add customer, nation, and line item. Let's add these in to the Genie space. So this is a good point to mention is Genie only has visibility to the data you add into the context of the Genie space. So you don't have to worry about having 20 different tables that kind of speak to the same thing in your environment, and those being, confusing Genie, because only the data that you bring into the Genie space is going to be something that Genie operates on. So now that we have these 4 tables in here, we could ask the same question. I'm actually going to tell Genie, hey, you were right to say this. I like giving it the feedback of whether it's doing well or whether it's not doing well with every question, and I'll show you why in a second. But let's repeat this. I'll say, I added country data. Can you try again? So we can do this, this kind of follow-up question. We don't have to just literally type out the question again. You can kind of have this conversational experience. And let's see if we get these top 10 countries. All right. And something interesting we can see here as well is when Genie is working with these multiple tables, it identified that to answer this question, it needed to hop from the orders table into the customer table. The customer table is where we have the countries per customer. And then finally, to give us the country names, it needed to make another hop into the nation table. And we can see that happening in the actual SQL logic that it produces. It's doing all of these joins. And I think this is a good one to mention because what I've noticed is in the real world with people I'm working with, a natural starting point with working with Genie is to recreate a Genie space on data that you already trust. And maybe the data that you already trust is driving a dashboard. And what you can do is you can see what does it take for me to replicate the same kinds of outputs that I would get in my dashboard in a Genie space. And what I'm seeing in the field is that you don't have to do as much of a semantic layer definition in order for Genie to understand how to connect the dots. And this is really interesting because some of these joins are happening on fields that aren't even exact matches. C underscore customer key and O underscore customer key. Those are very similar names, but they're not exact matches. And so what Genie's doing behind the scenes is it's using metadata about the schema. It's using, trying to match the column names together, but it's also using some of this sample data to inform what kind of content is in any given column. And that's making it kind of smart in terms of being able to figure out the semantics between our tables. All right, so let's just see one more thing. Maybe for these top 10 countries, who are the top customers? Or top 5 customers. And I just want to do this so that we can see the complexity of the SQL that Genie can produce. It's actually pretty nice. Like I've seen this, either you're going to use Genie as an analytics tool, like a self-service analytics tool for an end user, but you can also use it as a SQL productivity tool. And what I mean by that is when we click on this code, this SQL query here, it's using common table expression, it's using window functions, and these are things that even experienced developers are probably going to be pulling up, Google, or these days you might be asking an LLM for, hey, give me the logic to write this kind of structure of a query. So something that I'm seeing people do is, yeah, end users might be actually using Genie to get insights from the data, but developers might also be using it to just connect it to their actual data and then formulate a SQL query to 90% or more of where they want it to be. So you can get massive productivity there, and time to value on analytics kind of initiatives is, I think, much shorter once you connect good quality data into Genie compared to traditional dashboarding. So let's stop there. We'll pick this up with other videos, but we've already created a Genie space that's capable of joining data between these different tables, and yeah, we'll dive into the details of how we can polish this up and make it even better in future videos. Thanks for tuning in.